to bigger problems. And I feel like this isn't a thing that's only about police. This is something that's bigger than just police officers. Like it's a lot more than just police officers that's out here being unequal to blacks and, minorities. It starts with kids learning it at a young age. And I feel like once it gets to the police force, then at that point, these are people who already have had that mindset, and now they just have that power to apply it to what they want to apply it to, And it's really a disgrace, and it's saddening just to think that the color of someone's skin and someone's beliefs can just change the way that people think about them, Like you said, Jamison, I feel like the biggest thing for us is the people who do have a name, and for Black people especially who are in the blue collar job career, I feel like we need to go ahead and boost ourselves up. We need to start becoming judges and lawyers. And Barack Obama set the first example of becoming president, and I feel like that's just the mindset that we got to have in order to make a huge change. But also, being that we're in the NFL and you have people with big names like us, I feel like we can touch a lot more people than a lot of people think that we can because of our name. So therefore, I feel like we need to do whatever we can in the community to make sure that others in the community who follow us for what we do will follow us for that reason as well. Cody, what's your suggestions on it? And not coming at you in type of way. You're my best friend, but you are the minority in this podcast right now. So and I know your thoughts on it, and I know how deeply you feel about the topic, and I know that you care about every race, but just talk to us just on your thoughts, bro.
Yeah, and Cody, before you answer that, I was gonna ask the same thing because I ain't never seen you with a white boy.
Ever.
Ever. Even when we was, young, like Cummins, like your daddy coaching, or like Air Cabs, or like whatever it is, you've been with us like from the jump. So
just talk to us on Cody, just like how your thoughts on it.
Yeah. So me speaking personally, I think first and foremost, I think it's great that the conversation, it's been had for years, but I think that it's great that people are finally getting uncomfortable. Like, first and foremost, I think that with the George Floyd incident, it set off something that this wasn't just the first thing, man. This stuff's been brewing for years and years. Like, people have been outcrying and, pouring out support for this same issue that people seem to gloss over. Like, you really have people out here that do not feel that, police brutality and discrimination exist.
Yeah.
And I think that first and foremost, the conversation that makes people uncomfortable, that's when productivity starts to happen. And you can start to see, just think back, maybe 3 or 4 years ago with the Colin Kaepernick situation. You had a lot of people who would probably consider themselves down the road, like down the middle, who were against Colin Kaepernick taking a knee and against what he was, protesting against. They tried to hijack his message. And now it's crazy. You look 3, 4 years later, a lot of those same people are now coming out in support of Kaepernick, and they kind of changed their tune a little bit. And that goes for, NFL coaches, these people you see on ESPN, just the average person. You can kind of see some views starting to shift. And I think it's just it's obvious that people are targeted because of the color of their skin. And that's just point blank, period. And you can try to say, it doesn't happen. You got people who say, well, why do you put yourself in that position? But I ask everybody this. What if it was your friend or your family? Like, how would you feel? You know what I mean? And until it hits home, a lot of people, they don't understand the severity of what's going on. Oh, well, that won't happen to me. Or, I think people are just dramatizing it. But the fact is, it's real and it's happening, and change needs to come. And that starts with, like Jamison said, getting the right people in power, getting more diversity in people, like with people of power, whether that's in NFL front offices, whether that's government institutions, schools, everything. And also the police force. And like going back to touching on what Will said, it's deeper than just the police. It's systemic. And until that's addressed, you're just putting a Band-Aid over, a cut. Like, you're not actually addressing the real issue. And so I think that, my honest opinion, that the fact that people are getting uncomfortable and you got some people who are getting offended, I think that's a good thing, because now people are really starting to take note, and it's the message is getting pushed. So that's my brief thoughts on it.
Hey, and then you got Drew Brees. Y'all saw Drew Brees, what he said today?
Yep. And now you got his teammates, like big names, like, Alvin Kamara, Mike Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders coming out like, really, bro? Like, that's kind of ignorant. Like, and those are big name guys who hold a lot of clout on and off the field. And it's like, you're starting to offend them. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's really bad because of the fact that I think it hurt a lot of people because of who Drew Brees is. And, like, you just don't expect it. You just didn't expect Drew Brees to have that philosophy or was coming that he would come from that philosophy, And, like, I feel like that's what really hurt people a lot is because, you think about a man who's been in New Orleans, won't leave the city, has done so much for the city, so much for people, everyone in general, just so much giving back. And then it was just like a shock. So I think everybody's like, whoa, so it's kind of my thoughts on the whole situation.
It's crazy. It'll be interesting to see how his teammates respond and how things kind of pass over as time goes by. Because something else will happen and the media coverage will change and it won't be so much focus on, protesting. And it'll be, whatever comes, it's always a cycle, but it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out on the back end.
So kind of shifting the topic now. So I want to hear from both of you, Jonathon and Jamison. Let's talk about high school and you guys as high school recruitment and how you both ended up at Duke.
Yeah, we'll start with you. Go ahead, J. Lloyd.
High school, I came out hot. My freshman year, I came out balling. And I started getting a bunch of offers from big name schools like SEC, Ohio State, Florida, like South Carolina, like everybody, Miami. Like, I was balling, I was doing my thing, but I was also a baseball player too, which people don't really realize. And just football. I played basketball too, but people don't really realize like how good I was in like baseball as well. And I wanted to play baseball in college too, so football just always overshadowed it. And and playing quarterback, I wanted to be able to get the opportunity to play quarterback at the next level as well. So that kind of shifted my focus and narrowed different schools and opportunities down, being able to play quarterback and then play football and baseball, because a lot of people just didn't want to be able to do both. So that's how I kind of, in the end, kind of came down to Duke. And really, I wasn't necessarily even thinking about like the academics of Duke while I was going there, because when you're a young kid, you don't care. Like you know about it and you respect it, but everybody trying to go to the league. Mm-hmm. No matter how smart you are, no matter how good your grades are, if you out there balling, you like, man, I'm going to the league. That's the goal. And so I just chose a place that I thought I would be able to play quarterback, play baseball, and really kind of to take that jump and go to the next level. So that's kind of how I ended up at Duke.
So who were your other finalists? Like, who else could have got you? Like, who did it come down to?
Growing up, man, I don't know how, but I always loved Ohio State. So, like, I went up there with my sister's English teacher in 7th grade to camp, like, each summer. And then they offered me my freshman year. So I was like, boom, I'm going to Ohio State. And then they had all the like the incident with Terrell Pryor and the tattoos and the memorabilia. So Tressel got fired, and my Urban Meyer came in, and he offered me, and then I took my visit up there, but it just didn't sit right. It just didn't feel the same. So after that, I was like, dang, I ain't gonna go to Ohio State. So then it kind of just came more open at that point, but it really came down to Duke and State, because I was gonna be able to play quarterback and play baseball
Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, Jay Lloyd. I ain't even know that. That's crazy, dog. Like
Duke and State.
Hey, look, and you don't even got no excuse, bro. We the same exact year. We got, bro. Come on. I did commit late though. So like, if you would have been committed, I committed dumb late. I didn't commit to like January. Like,
didn't you commit to Florida State first?
Nah, I was committed to UVA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was committed to UVA, bro.
Yeah,
but that's crazy though. So would you say that like just part of being in Carolina had something to do with it too? Because I know when I went out of school visits during that time, I was a homebody. You know how it is in Burlington, North Carolina. You're a homebody. You don't really leave the state that much, But did that have any kind of effect on you deciding to stay at Duke too?
No, location wasn't really even a factor, man. It was really I was just thinking about ball.
Word. Okay.
And I was thinking what's going to put me in the best position to do what I want to do. And that's really what it was, man.
Okay.
Hey, and side note to all the fans, I kid you not, Jay Lloyd is the best rec league football player I have ever seen. And anybody who is familiar with like Air Calves and Hall River and Alamance County can attest to what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure. I moved to Burlington in 7th grade. Didn't play football my 7th grade year. Ended up playing for Turntine in Burlington my 8th grade year. And I hated playing him because I played defense and offense, and he ran the ball every time. And on defense, I never had any tackles against Southern Alamance. It's no catching them. without Jalen or Jonathan, without Jalen or Jamison, I don't think we would have stood a chance because nobody else could catch you, bro.
I'm about to say, Jamison was about faster. He might be the fastest cat I ever met.
He was fast, dog. And ain't nobody understand how fast Jamison was until we started running track in high school. And he took off on the 200, bro, against Allen Barnwell, all these super fast dudes at Cummings. And he didn't even get in the blocks. He just stood in a sprinter stance and took off and killed them in the 200.
Crazy.
Yeah. But go ahead, Jamison. Tell us just something about your time at Monroe. Some of your offers that you had and just your decision to go to Duke as well.
Yeah, man. Much like Jay Lloyd's, man. It was just one of them things, man. Like I was a 2-sport athlete. I didn't run track, man. I just played football and basketball. And like growing up, man, really basketball was my first love. And it's kind of crazy how like basketball actually kind of like initiated me getting offers. So my junior year, I had a big junior year, the football season. So after the junior year football season, I didn't have any offers at the time. But one of my teammates named Isaac Blakeney, my boy Isaac, he had committed to Duke. Coach Collins came to the game, to see Isaac, just come check out, one of the recruits and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I had like 24 points, man, 3 dunks. I'll never forget it. So that was on a Tuesday night. So that Thursday, I'm in class, and you know how when the coach, visiting and whatnot. So my coach had called me to his office. He was like one of our administrators at the high school. And so he was like, yeah, man, Duke, they want to offer you. So when Duke offered me, like after that, I started getting like, basically all the North Carolina schools. Like rather Duke offered me, Carolina offered me, NC State, Wake Forest, East Carolina. And I had like a weird offer from Illinois. And
they offer everybody, fam.
They offer everybody, bro. It was crazy. They had a weird offer from Illinois. But basically, man, like, what I'm saying? Like, what's crazy, like, growing up, and I probably shouldn't even say this, but growing up, bro, I was like a big UNC fan. Like, not even necessarily like football, but it was like basketball. You know what I'm saying? And, like I said, basketball like my first love. But, so, what I'm saying? I started going on recruiting visits and stuff. And, when I would go to recruiting visits at UNC, they actually wanted me to play defensive back. So I was going over there meeting like with the defensive coordinator, meeting with the DBs. So I'm sitting like in, like the DB room and stuff like that. And then, I started, obviously going on visits to East Carolina. And East Carolina, they wanted me to play, offense. And at the time, that's when they had like Lincoln Riley was like the OC, and
that's when they was beating everybody.
It was real.
For real. They was beating Carolina, Virginia State, everybody.
Right. Yeah. I'm talking about they was like straight spread it out, air raid type offense. Yeah. And then like, so I would go on visits to Duke, and it was just like the feeling at Duke was just different though. Like when I would go on recruit visits to Carolina at the time, Butch Davis was the head coach. And it was like I never really like sat down and met with Butch Davis. Like, I had my family up there. He never like called me in his office and talked to him. I'm talking about like just like multiple times I would go up there. But like when I would go to Duke, Coach Cut would always, call call me in his office, sit down, talk to me, my family, you know, whomever was with me. And, like, he just kind of made me feel like more at home, more like a family. And then when it came down to East Carolina, man, East Carolina was, like, really high on my list. But unlike Lloyd, you know, for me, like, playing close to